the laws of being a mensch, what it means to be a good human being. We continue in chapter 6, Hilchos Deis. It is the nature of a man's character and actions to be influenced by his friends and associates, and for him to follow local norms of behavior. Therefore, he should associate with the righteous and be constantly in the company of the wise, so as to learn from their deeds. Conversely, he should keep away from the wicked who walk in darkness, so as not to learn from their deeds. This is implied. By the way, please let everybody know, Corey, that we're on. Okay, thank you. This is implied by Solomon's statement. He who walks with the wise will become wise, while one who associates with the fools will suffer. Similarly, it says, happy is the man who does not follow the advice of the wicked. Very first words of Tehillim, of Psalms. A person who lives in a place where the norms of behavior are evil and the inhabitants do not follow the straight path should move to a place where the people are righteous and follow the ways of the good. And if all the places in which he is familiar, which he hears reports, follow improper paths, as in our times, or if he is unable to move to a place where the patterns of behavior are proper because of the presence of bands of raiding troops, or for health reasons, he should remain alone in seclusion. Let him sit alone and be silent, as it says. If they are wicked and sinful and who do not allow him to reside there unless he mingle with them and follow their evil behavior, he should go out to caves, thickets, in the deserts, rather than follow the paths of sinners. It says, he will give me lodging place for wayfarers in the desert. Better be there. It is a positive commandment to cleave unto the wise and their disciples in order to learn from their deeds, as it states, and shall cling to him, to cling to God, right? Our sages question the nature of the command, for it is possible for man to cling to the divine presence. How do you cling to God, to his divine presence? They resolved the difficulty explaining the commandment to mean cleave unto the wise and their disciples. So we cleave onto the Rebbe. Okay. Therefore, one should try to marry a daughter of a Torah scholar, Torah sage, and marry his daughter to a Torah sage. Eat and drink with sages. Do business on behalf of the sages and associate with them in all possible ways. It says to cling to him. Similarly, our sages have directed us, saying, sit in the dust of their feet and drink in their words thirstily. Each man is commanded to love each and every other one of Israel as himself. Love your neighbor as yourself. And neighbor is not the right translation. I don't know why it does that, but in any case.
Oh, baby.
Therefore, one should speak the praises of others and show concern of the money just as he's concerned with his own money and seek his honor. Whoever gains honor through a degradation of his calling does not have a share in the world to come. Ooh, heavy duty. Loving a convert who has come to nestle under the wings of the Shekhinah fulfills two positive commandments. One, for he is also among the neighbors whom it is commanded to love, and one, because he is a convert. And the Torah says, you shall love the converts. Thus God has commanded us concerning the love of converts, just as he commanded us concerning the love of himself. So it says, and you shall love God your Lord. He said himself, loves converts, as he says he loves converts. Whoever hates a fellow Jew in his heart transgresses the Torah prohibitions. Do not hate your brother in your heart. One is not liable for lashes for violating this prohibition because no deed is involved. Right? Lashes only if there was a deed involved. The Torah only warns us against hating in our hearts. However, a person who beats a colleague or insults him, although he is not permitted to do so, does not violate the prohibition, you shall not hate. Oh, excuse me. 6, when a person wrongs another, the latter should not remain silent and despise him. As it states concerning the wicked, and Absalom did not speak to Amnon neither good nor bad, for Absalom hated Amnon. Not right. In other words, you can't keep the feeling in your heart. Rather, he's commanded to make the matter known and ask him, why did you do this to me? Why did you wrong me regarding this matter? You shall surely admonish your colleague. If that was a person who committed the wrong, asks his colleagues to forgive him, he must do so. A person should not be cruel when forgiving, as implied, and Abraham prayed to God. Right? You should be forgiving. It is a mitzvah for a person who seeks that his fellow Jew has sinned, who sees, or sorry, a mitzvah who sees a fellow Jew as sin or following an improper path to attempt to correct his behavior and to inform him that he is causing himself the loss by his evil deeds. As it states, you should surely admonish your colleague. A person who rebukes a colleague, whether because of the wrong committed against him or because of a matter between his colleague and God, should rebuke him privately. He should speak to him patiently and gently, informing him that he's only making these statements for his colleague's own welfare to allow him the merit of life in the world to come. Excuse me. If he accepts the rebuke, it is good. If not, he should rebuke him a second and third time. Indeed, was obligated to rebuke a colleague who does not, who does wrong until the latter strikes him and tells him, "I will not listen." So if the person you're rebuking is going to hit you, then you got to stop. If he accepts the rebuke, whoever has a possibility of rebuking sinners and fails to do so is considered responsible for the sin, for that sin, for he had the opportunity to rebuke the sinners. Now, I don't know if they're Rambam, I don't remember now. That's only if by the way, if the person's gonna listen to you, or you think if you know the person's not gonna listen to you, then it's better not to rebuke them in most instances. Because then it makes them more intentional, their sin as opposed to inadvertent. Halacha number 8. At first, a person who admonishes a colleague should not speak to him harshly until he becomes embarrassed. As it said to you, should not bear the sin because of him. That is what the sages said. Should you rebuke him to the point that his face changes color, the Torah states you should not bear a sin because of him. Right? So don't embarrass a person. From this, we learn that it's forbidden for a person to embarrass a fellow Jew. How much more so it is forbidden to embarrass him in public. So that's not even in private, but in public for sure. Even though a person who embarrasses a colleague is not liable for lashes on account of him, it is a great sin. Our sages said a person who embarrasses a colleague in public does not have a share in the world to come. That's pretty heavy. Therefore, a person should be careful not to embarrass a colleague. Excuse me. Whether whether greater or lesser stature in public, or not to call him a name which embarrasses him, or to relate it to a matter that brings him shame in his presence. When does the above apply? In regard to matters between one man and another. However, in regard to spiritual matters, if a transgressor does not repent after being admonished in private, he may be put to shame in public and his sin be publicized. He may be subject to abuse, scorn, and curses until he repents, as the practices of all the prophets of Israel. Oh, give me a second. I have to stretch my legs for a second. Oh. Yeah, maybe. Sounds like a good idea. Okay. Okay. Yeah. It is a pious behavior of a person who was wronged by a colleague would rather not admonish him or mention the matter at all because of the person who wronged him was very boorish or because he was mentally disturbed, provided he forgives him totally without bearing any feelings of hate or admonishing him. The Torah is concerned only with those who carry feelings of hate. You hear that? So if you can work it out yourself, that's the best thing. And you have no negative feelings towards this person. A person is obligated to show great care for orphans and the widows because their spirits are very low and their feelings are depressed. This applies even if they are wealthy. We are commanded to show this attention even to the king's widow or orphans. This is implied. Do not mistreat any widow or orphan. How should we deal with them? One should only speak to them gently and treat them only with honor. One should not cause pain to their persons or with overbearing work or aggravating their feelings with harsh words. And one should show more consideration for their financial interests than for one's own. Anyone who vexes or angers them, hurts their feelings, oppresses them, or causes them financial loss transgresses this prohibition. Surely this applies if one beats them or curses them. Even though a person who violates this prohibition is not liable for lashes, retribution, one suffers for this violation. It's explicitly stated in the Torah, I will display my anger and slay you with the sword. There is a covenant between them and he who spoke and created the world, that whenever they cry out because they have been wronged, they will be answered. So the orphan, the widow, right, and the impoverished, God listens to them. When they cry out to me, I will surely hear their cry. When does the above apply? When one causes them suffering for one's own purposes. However, it is permitted to teach for a teacher to cause him suffering while teaching them Torah, or right, cause them suffering meaning in the sense of make them, I do that sometimes. I make you guys suffer, right? I make you like, I make you suffer because I make you, I'm gonna make sure that you understand. I'm not worried because it says here you can do that, right? Well, no, I'm saying, okay, they'll make you suffer. Right. Tim's smiling. He's accepting the suffering, smiling. That you gotta, you know, if I don't provoke you, right, in the understanding, then sometimes it just, goes over us, right? So sometimes, okay. Or a crafter in order to train them proper behavior. So in others, you could then like be, a little overbearing, if you will. Nevertheless, one should not treat them in the same manner as he treats others, but rather distinction with regard to them and treat them with gentility, great mercy and honor, for God will take up their causes. This applies to both those orphaned from their father or those orphaned from a mother until they are considered infants in this context of this mitzvah, till they no longer need a mature individual to support, instruct, and care for them, and are able to see to all their own needs by themselves like other adults. So when they can take care of themselves, that's when they're considered no longer considered an orphan, and then you could speak to them. Right? Okay, let's just do a bit here just because it's so important. Chapter 7. A person who collects gossip about a colleague violates a prohibition to not go around gossiping among your people. Even though this transgression is not punished by lashes, it is a severe sin and can cause death of many Jews. Therefore, the warning, do not stand over your neighbor's blood, is placed next to, in the Torah, see what happened because of Doeg the Edomite. Who is a gossiper? One who collects information, then goes from person to person saying, this is what so and so said. This is what I heard about so and so. Even if statements are true, they bring about the destruction of the world. There is much more serious sin. There is a much more serious sin than gossip, which is also including the prohibition of lashon hara, relating to deprecating facts about a colleague, even if they are true. Lashon hara does not refer to the invention of lies, that is referred to as defamation of character. Rather, one who speaks lashon hara is someone who sits and relates. This is what so and so has done. His parents were such and such. This is what I heard about him, telling uncomplimentary things concerning this transgression. The verse says, "May God cut off all guileful lips and tongues that speak proud things." Okay, I wish I could continue, but it's time to say goodbye.
Thank you,
Travis,
Rabbi.
everybody.
Thank you,
Ciao.
Rabbi.
Travis,
Have a good day, everyone.
You too. Thank you.
thank you. A
Thank you.
reminder, please watch on YouTube, youtube.com/Tanya Rabbi. It's very much appreciated.
So Don, Rabbi, are you able to hear me now?
You can come on Zoom, watch on YouTube at the same time,
Nope.
just to keep it going, You can always keep in the background, some class. And even if you're not listening to it, it's adding up the hours. Thank you. If you will. Tim, if you can contact me later, okay?